So a good brother of mine reached out to me the other day and he was like, Tariq, I see what you're doing now with the content, but bro, I'll be honest, why you not editing? Like the video is shocking. Like you're saying all the time or you're pausing. Like, what's that about? And I was like, bro, there's a method to the madness. Trust me. It may seem ridiculous now, but in a couple years, it will all make sense. And then you're gonna be like, wow, you actually implemented a new way of developing long form content that makes sense for you. And to be honest, it's not particularly a new way. There's other people on YouTube who's been doing the same process. And for a long time, I wanted to develop content that made the most sense to me. I wanted to be authentic and to showcase myself in the best way possible. And I think the best way of doing that is just putting the camera on, pressing record, and just talking as I'm doing now. And what I found is that we spend so much time and we place so much emphasis on looking perfect or being, showcasing ourselves in the best way. And honestly, yes, that is what it means with a personal brand of how you're perceived and obviously being perceived in the best way possible for future opportunities. But I really believe that this is going to be the new way of shifting the needle for leaders to really provide clarity on who they are and being able to show growth and development. Because let's be honest, it doesn't matter whether you're a senior leader for decades, you're always learning and you're always growing and you're always learning new skills. And honestly, that's the reason why I'm not editing my long form content, because you are going to get the raw, authentic version of me that allows me to really share the work that I'm doing and to provide awareness and depth to myself and for you guys to understand where I'm coming from. And editing content is 100% effective for short form content. 110%, I would not disagree on that. You need to capture the audience right away with a strong hook. You need to be able to retain them and to actually provide that level of value that will get them to engage with your content. With the long form content side of things, I believe that's changing. So many people now are in a position where they don't want to necessarily work with people where they don't know where they're coming from or they don't know their passion points or why they're doing the things that they're doing. And I really believe that developing long form content that's unedited to this degree will showcase a new generation of leaders that are very much, you know, not one to apologize for the quirks that make them unique and make them the person suitable for the job. For me, it was all about developing the confidence to speak more on camera, improve my camera confidence. I want to document this journey so you can see that I'm developing and learning and growing with the ability to speak on camera and to have more clarity and, just develop my skills. I'm an expert in personal branding. I would tell you that for free. But I understand the importance of communication and being able to vocalize yourself in a way that allows people to be attracted to the work you're doing and to attract like for like individuals that can see that you're working towards something bigger than yourself. And more often than not, you're not able to showcase that through short form content. And the long form content side of things, if you manage to get this far, then you're rocking with me. You understand that I'm developing and growing just as much as you. It's all a process of doing that. And in the process of doing that and, really not being shy or not being scared of putting out the content, because believe it or not, it may seem very much cringe in the initial stages, but you learn, you grow, and you develop. Like you're saying, you got to do your reps like you're in the gym. You got to do the reps. And for me, putting out this content, this is me doing the reps to showcase that this is something that I am also trialing for myself, but I know that this will be so beneficial for my personal brand and showcasing the journey. I want to be doing loads of other things in the future that will involve me, being center stage, talking to hundreds, thousands of people. And you got to start from somewhere. You know what I mean? You got to start from somewhere, because if you don't start, then you don't move. And if you don't move, then you don't progress. And if you don't progress, then you're stagnant. And I will not be stagnant. And if it means being uncomfortable to get comfortable, then that's the only way that it needs to go. And I don't want to be putting on a persona or a fake image of who I am just to attract people. If they're not attracted to the person I am, then they're not meant for me, to be honest. And I'm completely fine with that. I want to be able to, meet people that we can connect with on a deeper level, and just knowing that I can support you as a growth partner just as much as anything else is something that I'm really keen on doing a lot more. But with that, I need to ultimately be the person that does the things that I do the things that I preach about. I preach a lot about having the confidence to be on camera, to start producing content if you want to be able to reach one to many, rather than having to always do it on a one-to-one basis. And that all comes down to developing your skills, developing your confidence, and building the vital skills in order to accelerate with your personal brand. Personal branding is an amazing thing right now. We're in an amazing space. The AI space, as you know, is changing the game as well. But being able to communicate and being able to showcase yourself in a way that is authentic, but then also providing value, is something that I feel is important for this long form content. So if you're enjoying this, by the way, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and really appreciate the support. But ultimately, I want to see a lot more founders, creators doing this sort of content, because the more of us from, you know, this side of the world, or worldwide, to be fair, any freelancers, creatives, founders, business owners, entrepreneurs, this is something that I believe is the best way to get people on board, because they start to understand you, they start to see your face on a regular basis, and it just lines up when you're in a position where your personal brand is cohesive online and offline. Plenty of times you would see people online, and when you see them in person, they're not the same, or better yet, they're not even a nice person. Like, you'll see someone getting so many accolades online, but then when you actually see them as a person, they're not necessarily a nice person. And you want to make sure that there is synergy between who you are and how you're perceived in all areas of your life. And I believe that with the long form content development and showcasing raw unedited footage is a way to just hear me out for who I am, and get on board with the journey. So that is the reason why I'm not editing my long form content. There may be minimal tweaks as and when. I may even add a counter at the top for any time I say you know what I mean? I may just start to add that for future videos for reference, because that is one thing that I'm in a position where I don't want to be there saying all the time. That's crazy. With being able to communicate and being able to vocalize yourself in an effective manner, you need to be able to speak properly. And I've gone years without having to speak properly for all sorts of reasons that I'll dive into in later videos where I share and showcase a bit more about my background and where I'm coming from. But I'm proud of the process, to be fair. I'm proud of the journey of starting to document and talk directly to the camera. It's really still uncomfortable, don't get me wrong, but it's just me knowing that I am showing up and being in a position where I can produce this content and just share it with you on a weekly basis. And as I'm doing this, I'm sure that there's going to be things that you're going to learn from me. And I also want to be able to learn from you. And I'm always open to feedback and constructive criticism. I'm all about showcasing from day one where I'm at and just letting you guys know on a real level where I'm heading. And it all comes down to the repetition of doing better and being better. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be videos where it's just not working, it's just rubbish, or it may not necessarily hit the same, or it may not directly provide as much value. But it comes with the process of learning and developing over time. And I want to get to a stage where, this is training for me just as much as it's going to be therapy, to be able to showcase and share my experiences with you all. But in the meantime, it's all about showing up. Get the reps in, show up, do the work, and get better. And with each video that I put out and each time that I develop content, I will get better. And in the process of developing additional content, more specifically short form content, I want to be able to make that a lot more interactive and a lot more, you know, impactful with a level of editing that I will be doing for the short form. But as far as long form content is concerned, I want you to just hear me out for what this really is and what the plan is. So there's a method to the madness. It may seem crazy, I may look crazy, but I assure you that I have a plan in place. And you know, it will be interesting in 3 months' time what this looks like, from the support, from the engagement, from the general awareness of who I am and pushing my content out as well. Because one thing I really want to start doing more of is developing these videos in a way where you can Google my name and you can see a lot of video content from me. You can Google my name and I'm on the first page. That's no problem. That's a no brainer. But from doing a brand audit for myself, I realized that the video content is lacking and I need to supercharge on that and get more content out. So with that, it will be the process of the long form content, which I'm sharing with you all alongside some other content. So looking forward to the journey, and like, comment, subscribe, and appreciate you rocking with me, man. But yeah, peace out and look after yourselves. I'll catch you next week. Peace.